Welcome back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Raymond Wu. We're continuing our conversation in this segment with Mr. Paul Thurston, a managing director with Deloitte Touche in Taiwan. Paul, we were talking in the earlier segment about the impact and the seriousness of this current financial recession. And we're going to start off with this segment with a question that, in terms of how that people think this recession will evolve in the coming months, that some will suspect that we have not yet bottomed out, while the others may argue that we have now seen the end of the recession with maybe larger quantities of orders coming in for tech industry, that we're going to see a recovery very soon, maybe towards Q3 or Q4 of this year. What is your view in your individual capacity?
In my view, based on kind of what I read, what I hear on the street, and talking with clients and other individuals, business leaders in the community, I think it's a much longer process. This is going to need some more time to work its way through. You see certain points in time, you see bright spots that occur. Or someone might make a comment that this industry is looking like it's improving. We call that in the States a dead cat bouncing, where the dead cat, it bounces well, but it's not sustainable.
There's no life in it.
There's no life in that cat. That's right. It's not sustainable yet. And I think it goes back to kind of the comment about unemployment. And once we see employment rates improving, that's when, at that point in time, things will start to work out.
And we also read recently that some of the leading tech companies in Taiwan have been receiving large orders from China, especially in their current government campaign to encourage or subsidize the sale and purchases of home appliances in Chinese rural areas. Would you think that this is the start of something bigger? That, for example, Taiwan tech companies' future, the fate, would be hinged upon what happens in China? Well, would you think this is only a temporary thing? Maybe that will fill the factory orders for 2 or 3 months, but that's it.
In my own view, of course, I think it's only a temporary fix, if you will. It sounds like a golden opportunity, because if you look at the size of the market of mainland China and its impact on Taiwan, and that the orders have come here to Taiwan for specific industry and specific sectors, I think it will be not the end-all and cure-all that we were looking for.
There are no quick fixes.
Not for this one. I think it's going to take a much more broader sector, although China will eventually be, and needs to be, a leader in dragging the whole world economy out of this recession. They can't do it alone. It's going to take Europe, it's going to take the United States.
India, U.S., and things. And also, I think in the last few months, we have seen governments around the world promulgating rescue or stimulus packages, including the United States. That is still being debated, of course, but Taiwan, Japan, and Southeast Asia, all over in China as well. But I think one statement that was made public by Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao back in September of 2008 particularly stood out in my mind. At the time when he was asked by CNN reporters that Wen Jiabao said, at this financial crisis, confidence is more precious than gold or any currency. Will you agree with such a statement back then as well as now, today?
I think that's a very, very wise words indeed. And they have a significant broader implication or meaning. One other way to look at it is on the reverse side. Where what is the opposite of confidence? It's the FUD factor, we called it. FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I think that's what has hit a lot of people at this point in time. It's the lack of confidence. It's that fear factor that a lot of people have in, will I be laid off tomorrow? Will I be out of work? And how will I support myself? Those are some concerns, I think, at the grass level that people have. And so to say that confidence is very important, I think that is correct. That is definitely a driver of the markets. It goes back to a irrational behavior comment that Alan Greenspan once spoke of. You see markets react with irrational behavior at some point in time. What we need now is confidence, and we need to have put that fear factor aside and continue on and focus on our business.
Yeah, what you said about FUD certainly would be a very good description about a lot of people in the current situation, especially when you look at the market, and also when you look at peoples here in Taiwan as well as in mainland China. People have traditionally have this high propensity to save, and now with economic uncertainty that lies ahead, people are spending less. There is the concern about, will I have a job tomorrow? Should I be holding on to cash and not making any rash decisions on investment or purchases? Would you think that that factor, what would be the remedies, or if there is any remedy, to remove that fear, that uncertainty, and sort of boost the confidence of the consumer in the process, that people are willing and daring enough to spend and to stimulate the economy?
Well, I know here in Taiwan they recently came out with the
spending
voucher program. That seemed to have a positive impact on the economy. Now, whether that will actually ripple through to a clear economic stimulus that they were searching for, perhaps unknown yet at this point in time to predict. But I noticed all of the media were advertising, the 3,600 NT dollar sales, or double your money, or spend 36 and we'll give you more of a discount, or more services for that. So it actually doubled in value. And as I walk around the streets of Taiwan and the entertainment districts, I see a lot of lively people out and about trying to enjoy themselves. And so I think perhaps that might have been one stimulus package that might work.
Yeah, and also very interesting numbers that were released by a recent public opinion poll. I think overwhelming majority of the people, close to 60%, do welcome and receive positively about the spending voucher program. However, it was also over 50% of the respondents to that poll saying that they don't want to see another round of the spending vouchers. I think this is something, of course, indicative of the fact that Taiwan's citizens are very much in tune with what's happening internationally, and also the fact that they understand this is a very expensive way to stimulate the economy, because it's like 80 billion NT dollars per round. It's not something that's cheap. And also the fact is that the government's resources are very limited. And even though we're looking for governments around the world to lead us out of the current recession, I think the government resources, with being limited, need to be carefully spent. Like what we said, in Chinese, that we should spend every dollar and make every dollar count. So that's why you see the conflicting view among the public in Taiwan. But also going back to the earlier point that you raised, Paul, about China. China, with its huge market potential, has long been regarded as a engine of growth, not only for Asia, for possibly the world over. And especially now with the current financial crisis, a lot of countries around the world, in the region, in Asia, are looking to China as the driving force to lead all of us out of the current recession. Do you think that Chinese, the government and the people, are prepared and ready with the 4 trillion renminbi rescue package that they announced 3 months ago? Would you think that's something that's enough to stimulate the growth, not only within the Chinese domestic market, but also the regional and possibly on the international level?
Well, on the international level, I think it was clearly evident in Vice President, the U.S. Vice President's recent trip to Europe, when he made a speech not too long ago, emphasizing the need for the world to really take this challenge on. And it's not just collectively. It's not going to be just the United States able to pull all the other countries out of a recession. And I think that goes for Europe, and as well as for China now. It is time for China to really step up and participate in the world economy and together, collectively, pull us all out of this recession.
Yeah. And one other thing is that, Paul, since the election of last March in 2008, that the cross-strait relations have really been stabilized. And we would like to say that economic relations have been normalized. And now we have the direct 3 links between China and Taiwan. They certainly help a lot of business in terms of saving cost and saving travel time and things. And would you think that for Taiwan to come out of the current economic recession, a lot of it would depend on what China does or doesn't do. Would you think that further integration of the two economies will help Taiwan find a better niche in the international economy in the future?
Well, I won't comment too much on cross-strait relations. I'm definitely not the expert in that area.
Too kind, yes. Yeah.
But it seems to me Taiwan needs to identify who their real trading partners are.
Yes.
And it has always been the United States and China as well. Significant cross-strait relationships, trade relations have always been very important between the U.S. and China for Taiwan. And so, of course, I think as those relations improve, hopefully the economy will improve as well.
Yeah. Well, after we come back, Paul, we're going to talk about something that's your other passion, environmental protection. And we're going to take a short break. We'll continue this conversation with Mr. Paul Thurston about the protection of the environment the world over. We'll see you in 2 minutes.